Jai Hind everyone. Myself Ajay Kant Dubey, Assistant Professor in Department of Mechanical Engineering, Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. The subject which I am going to discuss is strength of material, in which I will cover various topics related to the syllabus. And the first thing which I am going to discuss is basic stress and strain. So first of all, I would like to tell you what is the strength. Okay. The strength of material may be defined as the maximum resistance which a material can offer to the externally applied forces before failure. If I say failure, the failure means yielding may take place or actually fracture of the material, and this strength depends on basically three things. First is loading, second B temperature, and C internal structure. Okay. Then I'll discuss this stress. What is stress? Okay. So when some external forces are applied to a body, then the body offers resistance to these forces. This internal resisting force per unit area is called stress. Suppose we have a body and I am going to apply a force on it. Force may be perpendicular to the cross section of the body, yeah, it may be parallel to the surface. Okay, depends. If I am going to apply a force on it, this force will try to elongate. If I am applying the tensile force, okay, the material will offer a resisting force against this applied force. Okay, if I calculate this resisting force per unit cross sectional area, then it will be the stress. So suppose we have a bar, say we have a bar like this, okay, and I am going to apply force P, which is tensile in nature. Okay, against this force, material will offer a bar. This bar will offer a resisting force in direction opposite to the applied force. So if I take a section somewhere here, okay, and if I draw the free body diagram of this, then this is the free body diagram, this is the force P, and against this force P, reactionary force say R is being developed. Okay, so this is say R and this is P, and this is nothing but the resisting force, resistance against the applied load P. Okay, if I calculate this resisting force per unit cross sectional area, so since the resisting force is perpendicular to the cross sectional area, okay, if I calculate the stress, then that stress would be normal stress. So here I will say this normal stress sigma is resisting force divided by area of cross section. Since it is perpendicular to the cross sectional area, that is why it is normal. Now let us suppose a body say some body on which various forces are acting like this. Okay, say forces are F1, F2, F3 and F4, and if I am going to find the resultant of these forces, to say resultant is delta F r, the resultant of these forces. So I am going to consider area on it, say a cut section. Suppose this resultant force delta F r is acting at this point, at this area, say in this direction, and say this is delta F r. Here I am going to consider a very small area on this total area, and say this small area is delta A. Now this resultant force has three components, one perpendicular to this area, say this is delta F n, which is in direction of x. I will say this is x axis, this is say y axis, and this is say z axis. I will represent three axes: x axis perpendicular to the cross section, and two axes x, y and z in the plane of this small area. Okay. So now this force, resultant force delta F r, has three components, one along x, that is say delta F n, yeah, delta F x, I may say this is delta F x as well, and along this y delta F y, and along this z, this is delta F z. So now the component of resultant force delta F r is known about the three axes, and that is delta F x, delta F y and delta F z. Okay, since this area is very small, delta F a, so I may define stress due to this delta F x, and since it is perpendicular to the cross sectional area, this cross sectional area, that is why I will tell you this is a normal stress, and this normal stress sigma equal to limit delta A tending to 0 delta F x upon delta A, and this comes out as d f x by d A. Okay. Since delta F y and delta F z are lying in the plane of area along x, z and y axis, so it will cause the shear stress. Shear stress tau, okay, if I am considering this, so tau x y, and this will be limit delta A tending to 0 and this is delta F y by delta A, and this is nothing but d f y by dA. Okay, and similarly I may find this tau due to shear stress due to this delta Fz, okay, and that will be dFz upon dA. Now the stresses which I am going to calculate parallel to the plane are the shear stresses. So these are the shear stress. This is the shear stress. Now the normal stresses which I have just calculated because of this delta Fx, normal stress may be tensile or compressive. Okay, so normal stress may be tensile or compressive. Depends the direction of applied load. So say if it is the bar and I am stretching it and force is perpendicular to the cross sectional area of the bar, so it will induce the tensile stress, and if I am compressing it and force is perpendicular to cross sectional area, then it will be stress induced is the compressive stress. Now next which I am going to discuss is the conventional or engineering stress. Conventional or engineering stress. Conventional or engineering stress. The stress which I am going to calculate on the basis of original cross sectional area is termed as conventional or engineering stress. So when I load material body due to of load P, so it deforms. So during the deformation, area of cross section changes continuously. Okay, so if I am not considering the instantaneous area in calculating the stress, okay, and I am considering only the initial cross sectional area, okay, the stress which I am going to calculate would be conventional engineering stress. And if I am going to consider the instantaneous area during the deformation and I am going to calculate this stress, then that will be true stress. Okay, so it can be defined as it is the ratio of load to the original cross sectional area. So say this is the bar and tensile force P has been applied. Okay, so due to this load P, let initial length is L naught and initial cross sectional area is A naught. Due to this load P, let us suppose the bar get elongated by some change in length and say that is delta L. This is the final length of the bar, okay, and this is nothing but say L, and cross section changes from A naught to A. Now this is say area of cross section A. Okay, Now I am going to calculate the stress. If I am considering the initial cross sectional area in calculating the stress, then it will be conventional or engineering stress, and if I am taking into consideration the instantaneous area of cross section, okay, and we are calculating the stress, then it will be true stress. Okay. So say conventional stress is sigma naught, which is normal stress actually, and this sigma naught equal to P upon A naught. Okay. And true stress is nothing but the ratio of load to the instantaneous area of cross section, and it is represented by say sigma, which is actually a normal stress, and that is P by A. Again we can establish the relation between engineering stress and true stress. So this is the true stress, okay. I may establish the relation between the two. Okay. So further I am going to establish the relation between the two, true stress and conventional stress. Okay. So here I am considering volume constant, right. If it is so, okay, whatever we are discussing, that we are discussing within the elastic limit. So there are certain assumptions which we already made in analyzing the subject strength of material, in studying the subject strength of material. So considering here volume constant, if it is so, then A naught L naught equal to A into L, where A is the instantaneous area of cross section and L is the final length of the bar which I have considered. From here E equal to A naught L naught upon L. Okay. How can we find this L? Suppose change in length of the bar due to applied load P is delta L, and final length is L. Then this final length L equal to initial length plus change in length. Okay. And how this delta N L can be calculated? I know strain equal to change in length delta L upon initial length L naught, and say this strain is nothing but the longitudinal strain epsilon. Okay. So I will put suffix epsilon naught, and this will be delta L upon L naught. Okay. So this delta L can be written as epsilon naught into L naught, and I will put the value of delta L here and will find the final length L. Okay. I am going to put it here. This is going to be A naught L naught upon L is L naught plus epsilon naught L naught. Okay. It will be A naught upon 1 plus epsilon naught. So this is the relation between instantaneous area and actual original cross sectional area. Okay. Then I can find the relation between engineering stress and true stress. Okay. Then sigma equal to P upon A, where sigma is the actual stress या true stress. Okay. I may multiply in numerator and denominator by A naught. Okay. And this P upon A naught, P by A naught is nothing but the engineering stress या conventional stress sigma naught into A naught by A, and from here A naught by A is nothing, this shows A naught upon A equal to 1 plus epsilon naught. Okay, I will put this value A naught by A here and will find this is 1 plus epsilon naught sigma. So this is the relation between true stress and engineering stress, sigma equal to sigma naught 1 plus epsilon naught. Now next is strain. Though we all know what is strain. It is defined as the change in length per unit length, or it is the ratio of change in dimension to original dimension. Epsilon is the notation for strain, and as per definition this is delta L by L naught. If I say conventional strain, it will be epsilon naught, and this epsilon naught is defined as the change in length per unit length. So this delta L final length minus initial length upon initial length, and this can be written as L naught L integrating from the limit L naught to L and dl over L naught. It will come out as 1 upon L naught integration L naught from limit of L naught to L and dl. Okay. So L minus L naught upon L naught can be written in the form of integration as integration limit L naught to L dl over L naught 1 by L naught integration limit L naught to L dl. Okay. Now next is, this is all about the conventional strain, conventional strain. Now natural strain, natural strain, natural strain, and it is defined as the change in length per unit instantaneous length. It is defined as change in length per unit instantaneous length, and that is epsilon equal to integration limit of integration L naught to L change in length per unit instantaneous length, and after integration it comes out as ln L by L naught, and L is nothing but L naught 1 plus epsilon naught, ln L naught 1 plus epsilon naught upon L naught. After simplification, natural strain epsilon equal to ln 1 plus epsilon naught. So, this is the relation between conventional strain and natural strain as well. Now, next is shear strain. Next is shear strain. Shear strain. What is this shear strain? Suppose we have a block, say, and three-dimensional body is this, and I am fixing the bottom of this block and going to apply a tangential force P on it parallel to the plane. I am going to apply this. Okay. Since the bottom is fixed, fixation is there, a resisting force which is equal in magnitude to P will be induced in the bottom, and it will be P. Okay. So, due to this applied load P, which is parallel to the plane, body gets deformed like this. Okay. So, D shifts to D dash and C shifts to C dash. So, this angular deformation is termed as phi, yeah, shear strain. If I want to calculate this shear strain, then it will be tan phi, and tan phi is CC dash by BC. Okay. Since deformation is very small, so tan phi may be approximated as phi, and this comes out as CC dash by BC. The measure of this phi is the shear strain. Now, since I am discussing about the shear strain, I will also discuss the shear stress, and that I have discussed, but I can show how this shear stress develops in the body. Say this is the block which I have fixed somewhere at the bottom like this, and I am going to apply this force P at any section. Say this is the section which I have chosen. Okay. If I cut it, so at the lower portion of bottom portion of the upper section part, resisting force R is being developed against this P. Okay. And at the top surface of the lower part at this position, resisting force R develops. Okay. And at the bottom this is P. If I want to calculate the shear stress, then shear stress tau equal to this resisting force R upon area of cross section of the plane on which this R, this P is acting, and say that is A. This R is nothing but P in magnitude, but opposite in sense, direction. This is tau equal to P by A. This is the shear stress. Thank you. This is all about today's lecture. Next thing I will discuss in the next lecture. Thank you.